Doug and Tom here in the studio. Kind of a cold January day, and it's during the period of time when one of our favorites, Donald Trump, is going to be sworn in a couple of days, and his picks for cabinet and other things. I guess there's certain positions that require cabinet picks and or congressional House of Representative picks. I don't know. Do you know anything? Who goes where to be?
No, confirmation.
Just confirmation. Some are at the Senate, some are in the House of Representatives. But anyway, I'm just hooked on them, and I watch them all. So I was reminded of, and I'm going to call these kind of broadcasts some Walter Cronkite, what's in the news today.
Mm-hmm.
Current events.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And Tom, he's always up for anything. I think it was interesting, and Tom, do you remember the Walter Cronkite Evening News? And we had 3 channels. What are your fondest memories of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I remember my nieces and nephews, they would call you a cronny, and that was after Cronkite. If you're older and talking seriously, you were
a cronny.
Yeah, I remember him, and
he was CBS.
Was he? CBS?
Only because I looked this morning.
Okay.
One of the other channels were
ABC.
Okay.
CBS and NBC.
And NBC. That's all we had.
Yeah, that's right.
Back in the day.
Yeah, I was a teenager when UHF came out. I think I was probably 17 or 18.
Okay.
It would be 67, 68 when UHF was introduced, and that was a big deal. Mostly cartoons.
Did that stand for ultra high frequency, maybe?
Yes.
Or something like that?
That's right.
Okay.
VHF is very high frequency, and then ultra high. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I still, with people our age, I still refer to that when I'm talking about cord cutting or these other things. I'll say,
yes.
I said, here's the local channels, and here's what we used to call UHF, and it goes all the way up to 65 Telemundo, but you have 29, 48, 17. Remember, they were all...
So there's still some UHF channels.
Well, they're not called UHF anymore.
Right.
But, well, yes, they are. I'm sorry. If you have an antenna, they're still UHF.
I'll be darned.
Yeah. And there's 2 bands there. There's low UHF and high UHF. And I forget that, people don't use antennas very much anymore, but it's still broadcast that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And I when I moved out to Indiana, we had to have a tower in the back of our house on our property. And our antenna was the TV antenna was mounted at the top of a tower.
Wow.
I don't suppose you had to have a tower in Philly, I'm guessing.
No. Everything here is, they call it the antenna farm. It's out at City Line Avenue. It's Roxborough.
Okay.
And you see it when you're driving on the Schuylkill Expressway, just I would guess I'd say west of City Line Avenue.
Yeah.
There's got to be maybe a dozen huge antennas there. And
okay.
So from our area, we always have to head southwest. We have to point antennas to the southwest to get at that. But it's not that far away.
Wow.
10, 12 miles.
And then, of course, we went to cable.
Right.
And now today, cable's not around.
Right. I mean, that's on the way out. Yeah, because it's all on the internet now. And streaming is what people are going to.
Yeah.
Video streaming. Yeah.
Man.
It just keeps changing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And now even
Yeah.
that's changing because people are
Yeah.
leaving what we call terrestrial, the Comcast with a cable coming into your home, or Verizon with their fiber coming into the home.
Yeah.
That's now the newest is to do it over the cell network, 5G. So T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T are all in the 5G cell business for home internet. Yeah.
And so you see these towers now with all kinds of units mounted all around them and on them. And you see that same kind of effect in urban areas, up on tall buildings and so forth.
Right.
And that's where the Wi-Fi gets streamed through, or?
Well, no.
No.
They do it over, when you say Wi-Fi is local, like in your home.
Okay.
So far, Philadelphia at one time was going to do Wi-Fi everywhere, but it never happened. So
okay.
Wi-Fi is in a home or building. You go to a restaurant, they have their posted with their Wi-Fi addresses. So Wi-Fi is just building to building.
I
sort of
gotcha.
thing. Now, what you're seeing on those antennas is the cell towers. They're cell towers, so that's a different frequency. That's a different thing. But they're sending out that's the cell network. So what they do now, what I described as a home internet over cell, they send you what looks like a regular router,
Got it.
it's kind of half cell phone, half router.
Okay.
So it does the Wi-Fi job for your home, and it's taking the signal from the cell network. So it takes a signal like your cell phone gets from the cell network, and then it converts it into a Wi-Fi signal for your home.
Okay.
But they're still, but they're always getting better at that. Faster.
Well, the little bit that I use all that, I love it. Even when I get frustrated trying to get a prescription filled via the app.
Yeah.
That's seems to be the response today from a lot of commercial people in healthcare. Well, go to the app.
Yeah.
And come into the portal and all that stuff.
Yeah, I just saw a kid open a Christmas present. It was a remote control car for a 6-year-old. And he's driving around, and his mom said that it wasn't really a smart toy because it didn't have an app.
Oh.
So
good grief.
I didn't even know. See, but, But the toys even come with apps.
Yeah.
And
You gotta love an app.
Now too, I see my wife will go to a doctor, and on the way home we pick up the prescription, and she didn't do anything.
Yeah, and you can stop. You can stop by, and isn't this what happens? Let's say you're real near the pharmacy, and you stop by soon after you've left the doctor, and the pharmacy has received. You're still going to go there and sit and wait for a short period of time.
I just drive up.
You drive up and it's right there.
Yeah, it's ready. Who
Well,
are you picking up for? I say last name, date of birth, and then go get it.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there's some interesting articles I've read on Starbucks and how Starbucks is changing, but another topic for another day.
Okay.
Okay.
But I kind of like the way everything is interactive like that. You can, I mean,
agree.
Jefferson Health, you bring it up, they got your whole chart in there, what's going on with you, you can look at it, they can all look at it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, seems to me.
And they give you some references. Some AI stuff will say, would you like to know more details about this condition?
Yeah, yeah.
Which I do, because I like to worry that I've got some terrible health situation.
WebMD, and those, they'll get you in trouble. Everything is,
know.
it's all cancer.
I loved it when you said that the other day. I had to go. I was telling Tom last time I was here to have some tests done on my pancreas, and of course, the situation, without getting into details about my pancreas, it's my business basically, was that it could be a sign of ba-boom, 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 cancer, ba-doom, ba-boom, and me being born anxious is what I always say. Whatever. That was just me. So I'm gonna call some of these things that we do now what
Is that where you said a Cronkite?
Walter Cronkite.
Okay.
This will be our
Walter
first
Cronkite.
Walter
Yeah,
Cronkite, and he used to. He was CBS, and he was the most trusted media or newsman in the country. It seems to me he was labeled as that. And I commend our viewers to go back and watch some of his broadcasts. But he would open by saying, "Good evening from CBS News." And then the wording would come up and some announcer would read, "It's Walter Cronkite with the news." And then he would sign off, and it was never opinion, straight, factual news. I guess. Okay.
Yes. Right. Yeah, you make me think of what did he say about JFK's assassination? I wonder.
I know.
I guess. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
What were they feeding him?
Yeah.
He told it honestly from what he got.
Yeah.
I think.
And that's kind of the viewpoint most of us have today.
Yeah.
But back then,
right.
He was the most trusted newsman in the country, if not in the world.
Yeah.
Walter Cronkite. And then he would always sign off, if I remember, after we look at a couple of the news items today, he would sign off with, "And that's the way it is. January 16th, 2025. And you can quote me on that. That's exactly how he would sign off at the end. And I think it was probably a half-hour broadcast. I don't remember.
I would think so.
What do you think? Yeah. Anyway, so I collect news clippings, as Tom knows. I don't have them on a computer. I collect them on paper.
Mm-hmm.
I usually get a Sunday New York Times, not because I'm a huge fan of, I just like all the news, but from past shows you can remember, I say, any news that fits, we print. But that's not really the motto of the New York Times. And I do love New York, too. We're in the middle of the, what do they call them? Hearings for the various cabinet members.
Confirmation hearings.
Confirmation hearings. And Trump's got a ton of them. And he had them all lined up and ready to go because he doesn't want to waste any time. And I watched yesterday, Tom related to me, he saw some clips of it, but they like to do the senators. I think I was watching senators yesterday. They like to get gotcha moments.
Right.
Okay? And so they do what I called, and is now in our lexicon, the Kavanaugh effect. Okay? And it's really a shame. They go back into the personal life of a lot of people. And the one they really got this week was a guy by the name of Pete Hegseth, who also was on Fox News. And I don't know if you recall. If you did, feel free to chime in. I know you were busy with your business you run. They get into, it's been reported that you drank a lot of alcohol at parties, and one they had to carry you out. And I don't know if you were watching that, but it just annoys me that they don't stick to business. They go for the personal dig,
Right.
hoping that it will discourage the nominee. He won't be able to handle the answer. But you can bet that Pete Hegseth, as well as a lot of the Trump appointees, have practiced a lot of this stuff.
I would hope so. I think you're right, and they've been coached, to in how to handle this, because it's a tough thing, especially coming off of Kavanaugh, as you say. There probably was a teaching moment there, for these guys, in how you get through these hearings.
Yes.
And it started, remember, too, Thomas,
yes.
Geez, and before him, in fact,
slouching
it's called
toward
getting
Gomorrah.
It's
was
called
that Bork?
Bork. Yeah,
Bork.
You get if they succeed in getting rid of you, then you got borked.
Yes, and I don't know. I don't think there was television back in the mid 1800s and early 1800s, but I'm guessing a lot of the same stuff went on.
Yeah, it's true, it did.
But someday, and it's referred to as scandals. I don't know.
But I think too, the way it is today, and you can find that Pelosi said this. I believe, yeah, it was Pelosi that said it. They'll throw some bait out there like that,
yes,
and then it doesn't matter whether that's true or not. That's
yes,
the new thing that's going to be debated.
Yes,
and it was just fabricated and put out there, but that'll be the new thing that they concentrate on.
And I'm guessing some of those were and some weren't. But if you want to pass muster, you're going to have an answer that doesn't confirm that any of it was true. And that's a shame.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is.
Yeah, it's true.
So anyway, I think Pete Hegseth was a Fox News guy.
Weekend
guy.
Yeah.
Quite an amazing story. I'm looking forward to reading his biography.
It's something. And they want to concentrate on this one time that he was, a dalliance, if we want to call it.
Yes.
When his impeccable and what he's done in the military and where he is today, and his educational background, it's all really, really something. It's amazing.
Yeah. They had all that. He had all that in spades. So then they dig back for the Kavanaugh effect: alcohol, women, misbehavior. Certainly, a lot of it goes on, and there was one of the senators who turned it back I don't know if you saw that.
I saw that clip. He was it or somebody? I
Yeah,
forget.
one of the guys who addressed his fellow senators about being drunk. There's been drunk senators in
Yeah.
here at some of our
Right.
late night meetings, and what one of you senators wants to admit to a divorce that was caused by infidelity and so on and so forth. It was I commend it to your
I agree.
to your
You
viewing.
did a good job. Yeah.
A good study of human beings. How many minutes are we at on this one? I had I thought this was interesting, and I've got so many of these things, these New York Times articles that we never get to.
Right.
But as you can see, Tom, I make a lot of notes and I
Yes.
read them and
Right.
try, so we can maybe have some interesting discussion. So we'll just try this one
Sure,
today.
go ahead.
This is from last Sunday's New York Times, the 12th, and it's the what section is this? They call this. It's kind of in the business part,
Okay.
but I thought it was interesting. They were the title of it is the HR department really on your side? I thought that might be a good one. And where people write in about problems at work.
Mm-hmm.
And this person wrote in saying, I'm really struggling with my new manager. He's not very good at managing our tight-knit marketing team, and we're all suffering. He has instituted new practices to build transparency on the team when he's not even transparent about his own work or goals. Well, it brought to my mind, and maybe you can think back to some of your days when you were working in a big company. I did for a short period of time, that they go on to say, well, and I remember we didn't really have HR departments back in the old days. Do you,
Right.
you
I
recall
don't-
them having
no,
one?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, they were mostly into hiring, you know.
Right.
That's what
the
they did.
personnel department.
Yeah, right. And they were looking for new hires generally. That's how I remember them. It wasn't day to day. You didn't get involved with an HR
Right.
department, right?
Right. So this whole article was about, well, should you go to the HR department and give them your complaint and jeopardize your job or whatever? I thought it was, whatever happened to if you had a beef with somebody?
You brought it up with them.
Well, that's we read each other's minds. Yeah.
But
Even if
think
it was a supervisor.
But you know, I think when I think of the way it worked there, I remember this. I think it's biblical even, where it says, "This too shall pass." You know, this guy is not going to be, either you're going to move or he's going to move, but this isn't going to last forever.
That's true.
And you can tweak that if you're smart enough. I mean, let's say it's the supervisor, the boss. You can still tweak his behavior based on the way this goes. You know, so I wouldn't take that issue to the HR. There's a movie, the Office Christmas Party.
Oh, and, I haven't seen that.
Jason Bateman. It's got a bunch of good people in it. It is a riot.
I know you told me that before.
The HR lady is among them, and she plays a real HR person. She plays the road to the hill.
Yeah, yeah.
And everything is an issue with her.
Yes.
I mean, you can't wear a Christmas sweater, that's a problem. And,
Yeah.
all these kind of things are all an issue with her in
Yeah.
HR.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a new concept, really.
It kind of is. I don't know when it evolved. But I read where it's now, back in our days, it was a nice guy usually. Sometimes it was a woman who ran the personnel department. And you'd knock on her door or his door and go in and say, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? But Tom and I think if we had a beef with somebody, we'd find a way to talk to them about it. And some people can do that, but some people can't. And in this day and age, with sensitivities the way they are, you run to the HR department.
Yeah, and that's a shame because it's like, you still have to work for this guy or this woman.
That's right.
And you just reported them. It's like it just destroys the whole relationship.
Yeah.
It seems to me.
It does ruin a relationship.
Sure, there's no trust there anymore.
That's right.
When's the next time you're going to report me?
Yeah, and you know what I used to hear in the old days is, well, why didn't you come and talk to me first? Directly.
Yeah, right.
Again, someone with a superior, I still think it can be done. And you can maybe resolve something, but as Tom mentioned earlier, what battle do you really want to fight?
Yeah, exactly.
Because, as you said, he's going to be moving on, or you're going to be moving on, so,
Yeah, things change all the time.
Yes.
In the corporate world, anyway, and it's like there isn't. There's no reason to do that.
That's
Plus,
right.
You're taking on not only him but the whole organization behind him.
You're right. You're right.
He's there. Someone put him there. They respect him.
Yes.
And or her, of course.
Yes.
And now you're taking on everybody. Of course, I lived through time. I say and her. There's so many higher ups that are women now.
I know.
And that happened that really happened over my career.
It really did.
Yeah.
You left the corporate world what year?
2009.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'll tell you that in 1984, AT&T signed a consent decree with the federal government, and it brought in the EEOC. They were the first with the EEOC, and Equal Employment Opportunity Commission.
Yes.
Let's say AT&T partnered with them, acquiesced, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But at that time, then they changed the way that people were promoted and brought into the company, and it became easier for younger people, both men and women, to get into the jobs that were traditionally you couldn't get to them until
white
you were
men.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
White men with 20 years seniority.
Yes, that too. Wow. That was a heck of a change. I ran into affirmative action in
there you go.
with a big corporation
that's
that
what it was.
was a bit of an annoyance, and I had to make a decision. Am I gonna hang with this corporation or not? And I won't mention it because it was many years ago. It doesn't matter anymore anyway.
Right.
But so once again, I got 8 or 9 articles here.
Shall we?
And we're
pick
getting
another one, or?
close to.
All right, we're getting close. Okay.
I think we'll keep it at that today, but I've got a ton of them now, and I know I'll have a lot after these Trump picks.
Yes.
But to summarize, there was discussion in this New York Times article back and forth, and the New York Times, typical for where they go to get answers, is to an expert, right? And so they went to an expert, at the Center for Human Resources at the University of Pennsylvania, for an author of who recently wrote an article in the Harvard Business Review entitled HR's New Role. So once again, the New York Times stamps this is the way it is. But in summary, they pretty much, well, Tom and I are both well experienced and I think two interesting guys, came up with the answers you and I did.
Yeah.
And I never went to the Harvard. Did you go to the Harvard Business School?
No.
No.
My brother and I, we went to the College of Hard Knocks.
That's right. Yeah.
Knoxy U.
That's...
We went to work.
And I don't think I ever really wrote a review. Well, no, wait a minute. I do pizza reviews now.
Right, yeah.
In fact, I have to let our audience know before we leave, Spotify is where you'll find my audio interviews of interesting people, and most recently, a pizza review. And if you're watching this YouTube, you know we're on YouTube now.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have to get that put up pretty soon when we have another guest who's going to help us next time, if I can get him here, to put things up on YouTube so we really get noticed, because I have no idea. Do you?
And I struggle with it. I mean, I work for you.
And as Tom said, I could fire him any time, but we just have too much fun doing this stuff, so I don't want to. Folks, thanks a lot. I think my remote controller will turn off the camera.
I know.
See ya.